So in previous video lecture, we have learned an unstable nucleus. This is unstable nucleus. This unstable nucleus, when bombarded with a neutron, it splits into two fragments by the release of three neutrons. So splitting of one larger nuclei into its constituent nuclei or daughter nuclei or fragments is said to be fission. It is nuclear fission. And nuclear fission takes place with unstable heavier nucleus. If the converse is taking place, converse in the sense you are taking two lighter nuclei. This is one lighter nuclei. This is one lighter nuclei. This lighter nuclei, both combine to form one more nuclei. It is one lighter nucleus. And this is one lighter nucleus. These two lighter nucleus combine to form another nuclear reaction by release of energy Q. This process is said to be fusion. This process is called fusion. Right? The converse of nuclear fission is nuclear fusion. So what nuclear fusion does is, when two lighter nuclei is combined to form one more nucleus, the binding energy of two initially lighter nuclei and binding energy of the product which is being formed after fusion is not same. Binding energy initially and binding energy finally is not same. There comes some mass defect. Because of that mass defect, there will be some energy released over here in this process, and this process is also a chain reaction. A continuous reactions takes place in this case. So a nuclear fusion, the nuclear fusion, it is a phenomenon in which two lighter nuclei combine to form a heavier nucleus of mass less than the total mass of combined nuclei. It is called nuclear fusion. And this mass defect appears as energy. And about a temperature of 10 power 7 Kelvin. So at temperatures about 10 power 7 Kelvin, lighter nuclei combine to give one more heavier nucleus. Hence fusion reactions are called thermonuclear reactions. Fusion reactions are also called thermonuclear reactions. Nuclear fusion takes place in sun and other stars. Energy produced in single fission uranium-92-235 is larger than single fusion of hydrogen into helium. And the fusion produces more energy than fission per nucleon, because here lighter nucleus are undergoing fusion. The energy per nucleon will be greater in case of fusion than that of fission. In fission, 0.09% of mass is converted into energy. In fusion, 0.66% of mass is converted into energy. Hydrogen bomb is fission fusion bomb. Hydrogen bomb is fission fusion bomb. So this is the importance of nuclear fusion. So point number one is that two lighter nuclei combine to form fusion reaction, and the product which is formed after nuclear fusion have less mass than that of individual two masses of lighter nucleus. So there comes some mass defect, and that mass defect multiplied with c square gives you binding energy. And to initiate nuclear fusion reaction, a temperature of 10 power 7 Kelvin is required. 10 power 7 Kelvin is very, very, very high temperature. Therefore, on Earth's surface, we cannot construct such nuclear fusion reactions. On Earth's surface, we can execute nuclear fission reactions, but nuclear fusion reactions cannot be obtained on the surface of the Earth, because the temperature required to fuse two lighter nucleus is nearly of order 10 power 7 Kelvin, which is not practically obtained. And such 10 power 7 Kelvin temperature is in stars and sun. Therefore, continuous fusion reactions takes place in stars and sun, which is the source of solar energy. And in case of fusion reactions, fusion reaction is continuous mechanism, continuous process. It is also a chain reaction, and enormous amount of energy is released in fusion. But the conversion of mass into energy in fusion is greater than that of fission. And the amount of energy released in the fusion per nucleon is greater than that of fission per nucleon, because in fission heavier nucleus are involved, in fusion lighter nucleus are involved. Because of such lighter nucleus has very less mass number. Therefore, energy released per fusion is greater than that of energy released for fission. So this is what important things regarding nuclear fusion. The reaction, nuclear fusion reaction, takes place between two lighter nucleus. As in the animation you are able to see that two lighter nucleus fuse to produce very high amount of energy. Students, we already have discussed in the earlier slide that in order to initiate a fusion reaction, you require a temperature of 10 power 7 Kelvin. This is very high temperature, usually in stars. So therefore, continuous thermonuclear reactions takes place in stars and sun. Therefore, they produce continuous energy. And what is the mechanism taking place in sun and stars? Let us discuss here. Stellar and solar energy. Stellar and solar energy is due to fusion reaction. And in solar energy, like in stars and the sun, proton-proton cycle or carbon-nitrogen cycle takes place. And this is a process cycle, in the sense 2-3 reactions will be taking place continuously. So first let us discuss about proton-proton cycle. Name itself tells you proton and proton. Two protons fuse to form another product, and the reaction is like this. The thermonuclear reactions which are involved in proton-proton cycle are, there are two protons H11, two protons H11, two protons fuse to form two deuterium isotopes. H12 is deuterium isotope along with two positrons by the release of Q1 amount of energy. And this deuterium, it is deuterium H12 isotope. This H12 isotope, two such H12 isotopes combine to form helium isotope 2 times He23. This is helium isotope by the release of energy Q2. Similarly, such two helium isotopes, one helium isotope and another helium isotope, both combine to form helium He24 along with emission of two protons. And in this Q3 amount of energy is released. Initially, there are two protons combined with two protons. As two protons combined with two protons is resulting in helium-24 along with emission of two more protons. That means for every four protons, two protons are again released in the result. So here we are starting with 4 protons. This is first reaction, and this is second reaction, and this is third reaction. After completion of the third reaction, you are left with 2 more protons. Such 2 protons emitted, or such 2 protons left out in one chain reaction and another chain reaction, those again combine to form helium-24 along with emission of 2 protons. Like this, the continuous chain reactions takes place. In the product, finally, there are 2 protons released, and those 2 protons combined with another 2 protons finally form helium-24, and finally resultant will be also 2 more protons. So 2 protons initiating, 4 protons initiating the process, and 2 protons are left over after the reaction. Therefore, there is abundant amount of protons present in the stars and sun. Such proton-proton cycle continuously takes place. Therefore, sun is the source of solar energy by such nuclear fusion reactions. So 4 protons finally giving you 1 helium along with 2 positrons and giving you Q amount of energy. And this Q amount of energy is a sum of Q1, Q2 and Q3. So in a proton-proton cycle, nearly a Q value of 26.7 billion electron volt is released. But whereas in case of fission, one fission reaction will produce 200 MeV of energy. But here in a proton-proton cycle, only 26.7 MeV of energy is released, but this is a continuous process because 4 protons are initiating, 2 protons are the product. So every 4 protons combine to give resultant of 26.7 million electron volt. This is called proton-proton cycle. And not only proton-proton cycle takes place in stars, it is also carbon-nitrogen cycle. Carbon-nitrogen cycle also takes place generally. It is one carbon fused with one proton. Carbon is fused with one proton to give nitrogen 713. Atomic number is 6 plus 1. It is 7. Mass number 12 plus 1 is equal to 13. You are taking one carbon and one proton, resulting one nitrogen, and release of energy Q1. And this is nitrogen isotope. Such nitrogen isotope again getting converted to carbon 613 along with emission of one positron. This is positron. Along with release of energy Q2. Right? And this carbon 613 again fusing with hydrogen isotope. Carbon 613 fused with this hydrogen again gets converted to nitrogen 714, releasing Q3 amount of energy. And this 714 again fusing with one hydrogen isotope gets converted to oxygen 815 by the release of Q4 amount of energy. So totally 4 reactions are taking place here continuously. And finally this oxygen 815 getting converted into nitrogen 715 by the release of one positron along with the amount of energy Q5. And this N715 again fused with one hydrogen isotope combined to form one carbon, stable carbon, it is 6C612 by the release of one helium along with Q6 amount of energy. Right? So overall, and adding these all reactions, check it up here. We are adding one proton. This is one proton involved in the reaction, and one more proton involved in the reaction, one more proton involved in the reaction, and last one more proton involved in the reaction. So C612, this is one fusion reaction, 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 and this is self-disintegration, this is self-disintegration. So total 4 fusion reactions are taking place. That's the reason why 4 times H11 combined to form final product, which is helium-24, along with release of 2 positrons. One positron here and another positron here. So 2 positrons are released along with this Q amount of energy. And finally, Q amount of energy will be equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 plus Q4 plus Q5 plus Q6. And this total Q value combined to form amount of energy 26.7 billion electron volt. So carbon nitrogen cycle and proton proton cycle generally will be giving you same amount of energy. It is 26.7 MeV. In this reaction, there are 4 protons taking place. 4 protons are getting fused in order to form helium along with 2 positrons. Likewise, 4 protons combine to fuse and giving you 1 helium along with 2 positron. Therefore, initial nucleus and final nucleus are same. Therefore, mass defect would be obviously same. Hence, binding energy in this process, that is Q value which is released here in this reaction and this reaction, will be same, 26.7 MeV. This is energy released in proton-proton cycle and carbon-nitrogen cycle. But in proton-proton cycle, there are only 3 chain reactions. But in carbon-nitrogen cycle, overall Q6, that means 6 reactions are taking place in order to fuse 4 hydrogen atoms. That's the difference between carbon nitrogen cycle and proton proton cycle. So comparisons between nuclear fission and nuclear fusion, and the comparisons are: number 1, in case of nuclear fission, neutrons are required for starting or initiating nuclear fission reaction. In case of fusion, protons are required for initiating fusion reaction. Nuclear fission can take place at normal pressure and temperature, but nuclear fusion cannot take place at normal pressure and temperature. It requires very high pressure and high temperature. The energy released per one nucleon is 0.9 million electron volt, but energy released per one nucleon is 6 million electron volt. So nuclear fusion reaction is more dangerous than that of nuclear fission. Percentage of mass getting converted into energy is only 0.1 percentage, but percentage of mass getting converted into energy in case of nuclear fusion is 0.7 percentage. As more mass is getting converted into energy, more amount of energy is released per nucleon in fusion reaction. Fissionable materials are very expensive. Fusion materials are cheap. Harmful reactions are produced in nuclear fission. Harmful reactions are not produced in nuclear fusion. In nuclear fusion, only hydrogen isotope, that is deuterium, and E+10 positrons, only these are released in nuclear fusion reactions. But whereas in case of nuclear fission reaction, alpha, beta, gamma radiations are released. They are dangerous, like they cause radiation exposure of alpha, beta, gamma radiations will cause some important body microorganisms will be killed because of those radiational damage occurs for our human body. So these are the comparisons between nuclear fusion and nuclear fusion. Yeah. So an explosion of atomic bomb is releasing this much amount of energy. So how much amount of energy is released? 7.6 into 10 power 13 joule. And if 200 million electron volt energy is released on fission of uranium 235, so one uranium 235 is only producing 200 million electron volt. Calculate how many number of uranium atoms are undergoing fission. You are supposed to calculate how many number of uranium atoms are undergoing fission. Total energy is released this much. Each uranium is giving this much amount of energy. So total number of fissions is equal to total energy divided by energy released in each fission. Energy released in each fission. So therefore, total number of fission can be written as 7.6 into 10 power 13 joule divided by energy released in each fission reaction is 200 MeV. 200 into 10 power 6 into 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joule. So if you calculate this, you will be getting total number of uranium atoms which are undergoing disintegration. So total number, if you calculate, it's nearly 2.375 into 10 power 24 atoms. So these many atoms are undergoing nuclear fission reaction. That is answer for the first one. The mass of uranium used in this atom bomb. So you are supposed to calculate mass of uranium used in this atom bomb. So in order to find out mass of this atom, as we know, number of moles is equal to mass divided by gram molecular weight. Number of moles, like from here you can write mass of total mass of uranium can be written as number of moles into molecular weight. So I can write M is equal to number of moles, it is like 1 mole consists of Avogadro number of atoms. 1 mole consists of Avogadro number of atoms. So here we do not know how many moles are being present. So therefore we will be calculating how many atom, as we only know number of atoms undergoing disintegration. So we will be writing in terms of number of moles. I'll just write it as N divided by Na. So a number of moles can be written as N divided by Na into gram molecular weight. The total mass M can be written as 2.375 into 10 power 24 into what is molecular weight of uranium? It's 235 divided by Avogadro number 6.023 into 10 power 23. So this, if you calculate, you will be getting nearly 92.66 gram. This is answer for this problem. See, one uranium atom is giving this much amount of energy. If one uranium is giving this much amount of energy, then 2 gram of uranium sample gives how much energy, and that is in kilowatt hour. You are supposed to calculate. So as you know, one uranium atom gives 200 MeV. You need to find out how many number of atoms are present in 2 gram of uranium 235. As we know, number of moles is equal to mass divided by gram molecular weight, and this is equal to number of atoms divided by Avogadro number. I want to now find out total number of atoms present in this sample. So N can be written as M divided by capital M into Avogadro number. So capital N, total number of uranium atoms in 2 gram divided by molecular weight of uranium is 235 into Avogadro number is 6.023 into 10 power 23, and this is in gram. So 6.023 into 10 power 23, you need to multiply with this total so that you will be getting total number of uranium atoms. Once calculated the total number of uranium atoms in 2 gram, total energy released is equal to total energy released E is equal to number of atoms undergoing fission reaction multiplied with 200 MeV, right? So number of atoms, if you calculate, you will be getting nearly 5.125 into 10 power 21 atoms. That you need to substitute here. Total energy released will be 5.125 into 10 power 21 into 200 MeV. M is million, million is 10 power 6. Electron volt should be converted into joule. That is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joule. But in problem you are asked to find out answer in kilowatt hour. In kilowatt hour, you can write 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 36 into 10 power 5 joule. So 1 joule can be written as 1 by 36 into 10 power 5 kilowatt hour. So instead of this joule, I'll now write this total here. The total energy E will be 5.125 into 2 into 1.6 into 10 power 21 plus 6 27, or you can just write it as directly. I'm writing here 10 powers. It is 10 power 19 20 21 2 3 4 10. 10 power 10 divided by 36 into 10 power 5 kilowatt hour. This is answer in kilowatt hour. If you calculate this, you will be getting nearly 4.55 into 10 power 4 kilowatt hour. This is the answer. Energy in kilowatt hour. So one uranium is undergoing fission. It is producing 200 MeV of energy. How many number of fissions per second are required to produce a power of 1 megawatt? We know power is equal to energy by time. Energy released, n number of fissions multiplied with 200 MeV divided by time taken T. This is equation for power. Power is already given 1 megawatt. 1 mega is 10 power 6 joule per second is equal to n by T, number of fissions per second, into 200 10 power 6 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joule. This joule and joule gets cancelled. Finally, n by T will be equal to this 10 power 6, 10 power 6 gets cancelled. Finally, you will be left over with 1 divided by, it is plus 19, 200 into 1.6. This is number of fissions taking place per second, and it is nearly 3.125 into 10 power 16 fissions per second. So these many number of fissions are undergoing for 1 second.